Andy Pajes is having a great start to the season. Is it time to sell high and ride off into the sunset? Find out today.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. I'm Matthew Ahne here, as always, with my co-host Dominick Martino, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. Thank you to our everydayers and new listeners for making us your first listen each and every day. Dom and I are longtime fantasy baseball analysts, and between the two of us, we have over 40 years of fantasy baseball knowledge. And the reason we do this show is to share that knowledge with you. So make sure you're tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review to share your support for the show. And stick around all week and all episodes where it's must-add players, which you should check out from yesterday. Trade for and aways like today. Episodes, a second must-add episode, and one of the best episodes I feel is capitalizing and talking about the best top performances of the week, so you know who's up and down, which also helps you out with. So today we got a really good show for you today. We're going to be talking about buying low and selling high on players. And, is it time to capitalize? This is, the time of the year where people overreact, and it's the perfect time to try and get players that you wouldn't normally be able to get once they start get going. A little preview, insight, and tease until later in the episode. Guys like Logan, Gilbert, Logan, Webb, and Kylie all on this show at some point, probably in the latter half of the show. But we're going to start off the show with our sell highs to capitalize on there. Dom, take it away. Who are we going up with first?
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned him up at the top. Let's do Andy Pajes, outfielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And let's just talk about what he's been doing so far this year, because he's been on an absolute tear through the first 11 games for the Dodgers this year. 42 at-bats, 6 runs, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, has chipped in a steal, 2 walks to 9 strikeouts. Don't love that, but he's hitting a whopping .452. Pajes is a weird one for me personally, right? Somebody, as I was coming into the off season, when I start doing my work in like Matt, what are we like December? We're fantasy baseball fanatics. Like I hope you guys are too. And that work starts early on in the off season for us. And I was like, I want to say I had Pajes like almost borderline top 24 outfielder, right? I was like, had a good, minor leagues like a career where he hit for a lot of pop in 2021. High A, he had 31 home runs through 121 games, and he hit 265. 2022, 132 games, had 26 homers through 487 bats. He did hit 236, so the batting average wasn't great. But the pop is legitimate. He really does hit the ball hard. I hit 27 home runs last year in the majors. Pajes did through 156 games, 581 at-bats. He hit 272 last year. So the batting average, I don't know if it's sticky, as he is hitting a whopping, I said 452 this year. Could he hit 270-ish again, 260-ish again, and just repeat what he did last year? I think that's more than reasonable. He's only 25 years old, was 24 last year. Some of the underlying stuff, puts you in weird spots with him. Like the underlying stuff for batting average looks great at 322 when it comes to X batting average. The slugging, X slug looks great too. The average exit velocity is above average in the 67th percentile at 90.9. The hard hit percentage is really high in 90th percentile at 54.5. The bat speed looks good. He's doing some things right. Don't get me wrong. He's not barreling the ball great, a little bit above average, not finding the sweet spot well. But the sprint speed looks good. Pajes did steal, 14 bags last year. I'll just put it like this. I wouldn't be shocked if he did exactly what he did last year, and that puts him, like I said, kind of like a borderline top 24 outfielder is where I kind of wanted to rank him. I let some of the other, people get the best of me and, other conversations around Pajes get the better of me. But that happens. That happens in the community because we want to learn and grow from our peers and stuff like that. But sometimes it takes you in the wrong direction, but it's okay. But with Pajes overall, I think a sell highs in general, if you can get a top 24 outfielder. If you can't do that, I might want to hold because I definitely believe in the power speed combo. The batting average looks good for the underlying stuff. I personally don't know if he can keep it up. Just you look at the minor league track record. He's always been up and down, but then again, he's 25 this year, was 24 last year, had a great season in the bigs. Like I said, if you can get a top 24 outfielder in your personal rankings, I'd do that. If not, I'd probably hold and just ride it out because this great Dodgers lineup. He's been hitting 6th, 7th in the lineup, no pun intended. But yeah, Pages, interesting one for me.
First off, brain rot alert. Second,
And it's horrible, bro. I'm so sorry.
yeah, it's all good. I got nieces and nephews. Ultimately, I actually disagree with you on the power and of Pages. And reason being is we have 1.5 years of history outside of this year. And I feel like it's super inflated of him overachieving. You look at what he's done over the last 2 years in that, in barrel percentage and in hard contact, and it's nowhere near what he's doing. He's like, he would be taking such a step forward, even though he's just turning 25, that there was no build up to this at all. It's not like turning on a light switch. Usually you have some indication. Last year, 37.2% hard hit percentage coupled with an 8.4 barrel percentage. In 24, which again, small sample size. Well, not really. 403 at bats. It's not really small. Only 40% hard hit percentage. The barrel percentage was much better at 10.7. That part I could believe about this year with him only hitting, a barrel percentage of 9.1. I think he can make good contact, but the hard hit percentage, I think, is overinflated by small numbers, small sample size, essentially, right? Like, shoot, I have just on Fangraphs right now, scaled out for just the last 8 days, and he has a 72.6% hard hit percentage. Sustainable, and with the small sample size of only 14 days of baseball really being played, maybe a little bit more, I think it's just being inflated out astronomically. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're here in a month and we have more of an average of like 42%. And with a 9.1 barrel percentage, which again, I can give him positive regression, positive or negative regression, so we can go either direction. There's the pace isn't going to sustain what he did with his underlying stats of what he did last year of 27 home runs, because he only had an 8.4 hard hit barrel percentage and a 37.2 hard hit percentage. Look, it's not like he hits in, Great American Hitter Park, so I just don't see how he can do this again, even with some steps forward. I don't see 27 home runs in his future. I think he got lucky last year. 20, 20 is, I think, more of a fair number to expect from him. And again, he doesn't have enough stolen bases over the last couple of years, even though he's fast, to say, hey, I can count on him being 2020, which would make him valuable. And the batting average, like Dom said, is a little questionable as well. So I really think this is the perfect time to sell him and get anything you humanly can from him. Even if this is a breakout year, the switch doesn't flip like this over one season with these kind of stuff. So I'm ultimately on the trade side wholeheartedly. It is what it is. I think holding on to him is putting yourself and setting yourself up for failure. But let's move on. Let's talk about Christian Yelich. Um, Yelich so far on the season is having a good year. And again, this is a weird one for me because I didn't think I would actually say this. You know, I don't know if I'm actually trading him away unless I'm getting something nice in return. Look, he picked up right where he left off, essentially 39 at bats, 10 runs, two doubles, a triple, a bomb, 10 ribs, two stolen bases, batting 385. Last year is seeming more and more like there's a possibility to come close to what he was doing. The barrel percentage clearly needs to come up, but again, small sample size. The hard hit percentage at 46.4% is not like he's like super overperforming. And last year he had 46.4%, and now you see it here and it's 46.4%. There's not much of a difference between except for the barrel percentage. And how is that repeatable? Absolutely, because he can. We know he makes quality contact on the ball. There's something that is an indicator of where his success could lie, and that is the fact that what he did last year is repeatable, and what he's doing now in terms of the hard hit percentage, all he needs to do is make better contact. He's a player that's been in the league forever. We know that he can, so he will. And ultimately, even over the last couple days, he's just had better barrel percentage. I think that Yelich should actually bounce back. Now, I will trade him, but I want something decent in return. I think he is a nice focal point of a trade where you could slip in him and another guy to maybe get a higher upside underperforming outfielder or a pitcher. But I'm not really counting. I wouldn't be upset if I have him for the rest of the year because I think he will return on that draft pick.
And before we move on and we talk about my thoughts on Yelich, Chase DeLauter, Jose Soriano on the pitching side of things, and the rest of those starting pitchers we have that you need to either trade for or away, coming up next.
The NBA playoffs are here where every position matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing in a series. Here's what I like about it. You can get bet on bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. It's great. The app makes it easy to follow the action, stats, players, all matchups, all in one place. And during the playoffs, extra insight really matters when you're looking at a start, role player, or a key moment. It just makes the entire playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. Head over to fanduel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. And also, I'm going to say this too. FanDuel, you can make some wild parlays. I think it's the perfect time to get on it because playoffs are unpredictable. Honestly, just bet against them Phil's 76ers, and I think he'll be all right. Let's move on. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want a candidate who can match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to people who fit your specific criteria, qualifications, and location. And if you're hiring, I wouldn't just want someone who can just help out. I'd want someone with real experience who could jump right in. That's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific, target exactly what you need. It saves time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches. And here's something, a stat that is actually incredible. You know, the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing with candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Thank you for making Locked On Baseball your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcasting network. You already live your team. Now is ad free. Is back, and you can lock in by joining the club, which gets you ad-free episodes, and tap at the link for the show notes below. But all right, as you can tell, my tongue is getting tied. Dom, this is all you. How are you feeling about Mr. Christian Yelich?
Yeah, Matt, it's crazy because we totally flip flopped on Pajas and Yelich here because I'm selling high on Yelich and just a few things, and I don't want to do a whole thing here on Yelich like we did with Pajas because I really want to get through these names. But my big thing with Yelich is obviously one, the age, 34, getting older, the back problems. He had really severe bad back problems in 2024, man, and it caused him to miss a lot of time that year. And we just don't know if in his old age it's creeping back. You talked about how a lot of the underlying stuff matches what it was last year, and it is down a little bit, but it wasn't great last year, and it's a little worse this year. When you go back and you look at who Yelich was in 2022 and 2023, where he played almost a full season both of those years, all of the underlying stuff was up. And it was way better than it was last year, way better than it is this year. And we saw 19 home runs and 14 home runs, respectively, with a really good steal season in 23. Yeah, the 28 steals and the 19 steals in 22. But he was nowhere near the player he was last year. I just don't foresee Yelich being great. I think that I think it's a combination of an injury concern and the play concern. I think if Yelich is even healthy and really good this season, I don't think he touches 29 home runs again. I think maybe we get in the 17 to 21 range. I think this Brewers team needs a healthy Jackson Chourio back out there for Yelich's supporting stats to be good, the runs and RBIs. And, we'll see how Chourio's progressing here. Batting average, I think it could be around 270, 280. But Yelich, for me, there's just so many question marks there that if I could sell high right now on him playing well and get, once again, probably around a top 20 for outfielder, I think that's going to be the sweet spot. But just for time purposes, let's keep things pushing here and let's move on to this next guy. Let's talk about Chase DeLauter. Started off the season's great. Outfielder for the Guardians, by the way, if you're not familiar. Played great in the playoffs last year. I think he still has rookie eligibility. I believe he does. So I want to say rookie, outfielder there with the Guardians. Started off setting the world on fire. The first four games, he had 4 home runs. First 3 games had 4 home runs this season. Went 3 for 5 in that first game. Hit another home run on April 3rd, but otherwise has been really quiet since those first 3 games. Has 7 runs, 5 homers, 9 RBIs on the season through the first 11 games. Played, 286 batting average. DeLauter, really good minor league track record for the most part. Really unhealthy. He's a very fragile guy. Plethora of injuries under his name. I don't want to sell him short of what he can do and who he can be, but I just think he's been so impactful right away off the jump that you could really sell high on a guy like this and take advantage of it. I think he's going to be a rookie. I know he's a rookie, and I know there's going to be ebbs and flows when it comes to being a rookie. I don't think he's just going to take the world by storm and be like a 25, 30 home run guy with great counting stats and a good batting average. I think DeLauter's going to, possibly, have to deal with some injuries, some stuff, has gotten a lot of surgeries that to this point in his young career. The power's legitimate. The hit tool's pretty good too. He's not a steals guy, so we're not expecting speed from DeLauter. I just think a lot of people might be unfamiliar with who he is and how to value a guy like this. I don't think he's, obviously he's ranked the number 24 player on Yahoo's player rater so far. And I hate to keep saying this, but if you could sell for a top 24, even DeLauter, I'll move it down. A top 30-ish outfielder I take for DeLauter at this point in time. He's 82% owned on Yahoo, which just shows me he's owned in a lot of formats, different kinds of leagues. I would just take advantage of the hot start. As much as highly touted of a prospect as he was and as good as he may be, once again, a lot of question marks when it comes here to DeLauter. I would sell high if you can.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I mean, honestly, the injury history definitely is scary. I mean, he has it in him to have all the power. I think that right now, if you look at the underlying stats, if you break it down for the whole season, it's inflated because you look at the last 8 days, and I mean that's more than half the season so far. The barrel percentage is well in the toilet. The hard hit percentage is there, but he's also ground balling over 50% of the time, and that part also scares me. A guy that's supposed to be known for power needs to be able to crank that ball off the fence and not over the fence and not hit it into the ground. So I have some holes I want to poke in the game. So I think that it's probably better off now. Yes, it does come with some risk. You could be trading away this year's PCA, but the likelihood of this panning out is less likely than PCA. So I'm right there with you, Dom. Let's sneak this next guy in because I feel like we need to get some stuff going. So Jose Soriano, starting pitcher. When it comes to Soriano right now, I mean, he's having an incredible season as a pitcher. A 0.45 ERA through 3 starts and 20 innings with 21 strikeouts and a 0.65 whip. Everything's going really, really well for him, but I'm just not buying it in all honesty. I mean, his Sierra's at 332. He's only producing ground balls at 36.8%. He's leaving guys on base a hell of a lot, which, left on base percentage is something that's I feel is overlooked in certain aspects of it, because that just means there's guys on base and he's not getting himself out of trouble. He's getting himself out of trouble. It's just not something that I foresee being, sustainable for him. I just don't foresee things really going his way for long, and I'm just moving on at this point. So for me, Jose Soriano is a sell high. I don't believe in the talent or anything at this point. So do what you can.
Matt, I'm with you on this one. And for time purposes, I'm just going to say it this. Just remember last year, if you didn't play last year, if you're very new to fantasy baseball, Jose Soriano had 3 start stretches last year that were, if maybe not this good, but close. So Soriano was very useful. Even in 2024, he was even more useful. So we've seen him be this good at times before. He has solid stuff. I just don't know if he's taking the next step forward as I look at his underlying stuff. Like even the velocity's down on his sinker, his most thrown pitch. So it's going to be weird for me. If you can get yourself like an SP4 or higher, I would definitely take advantage and do that with a Jose Soriano. But before we move on and we talk about our last sell high, and then we get into some buy lows or, trade forward away, so whatever you want to call it. Names like Logan Gilbert, Logan Webb, and more coming up next.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and when it comes to our futures, we all have great ideas when it comes to our job, when it comes to our house, when it comes to our vehicles, all that great stuff. But honestly, when it comes to securing that future, I don't know what I don't know. And when me and my wife sat down to figure out the life insurance thing, Ethos made everything simple. Everything's online, you have a quick and easy application process, and you find out exactly what you need for coverage all in one spot. Ethos makes everything so convenient when it comes to learning about your own life insurance, because insurance is something that is far beyond batting average or on-base percentage. It's way out in left field for me. Ethos made it all easy. Take just 10 minutes and get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times may vary and rates may vary.
All right, so we're back after this, and Dom, do you have this guy queued up?
I do. If you want me to go, I got it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, let's talk some Emerson Hancock, starting pitcher of the Seattle Mariners, right? And he's somebody I'm indifferent about, but it's just the numbers have been so good so far this year. You kind of almost have to do that sell high checking on a guy like this. Through Emerson Hancock's first 2 starts of the season, it's an 0.71 ERA, an 0.55 whip, 12 innings, and 14 strikeouts. Hancock was a pretty highly touted prospect with the Mariners over the last few years. I will say this: there's a chance that the breakout's here, but he's not going to be this good the rest of the way. He's not going to be an SP1, 2 kind of guy. If the breakout's there, maybe it looks similar to like what a Jacob Mizorowski did last year, where there's some really good strikeout numbers. The ERA looks pretty good through the first half. So does the whip. But then the struggle might come in the second half. Like, hey, a guy who hasn't thrown a lot of innings in his career and things like that, where the stuff may be elite. And he's made some changes to the arsenal this year where he's throwing that sweeper a lot more and getting really, really good results with it. That cutters got worked into the rotation. Like, I like what I see. He took a step back on the sinker that wasn't working for him last year. I see the progression and I see the path. But you always got to take advantage out of a year like this where, and I'm going to throw names around that are coming up later in the episode. There's Logan Gilbert, Logan Webb, Kyle Bradish. Not that you could do a 1-for-1 or anything like that, but I would work a trade in with Emerson Hancock for a guy for any of those starting pitchers that I just talked about. Just on the sense of those guys are going to work back towards the mean, and Emerson Hancock he's good, but he's not this good, and it was 2 mediocre opponents, the Guardians in his first start. He went 6 innings, got 9 strikeouts, no earned runs, a 1.7 whip in that one. And then against the Angels, who I don't even think Mike Trout was in the lineup in that game. I think his hand was still hurt. He just came back today. So 6.2 innings against the Angels, 5 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 0.9 whip. The competition hasn't been great. His next start is against Houston, who's been a little bit better. Christian Walker, Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, all those guys are hitting over there. Let's see what he does against them and maybe even try and sell high before that.
Yeah, well said. I mean, Emerson really just holds no value for me. If I can move him in a trade, I'll move him in a trade. I don't think the ceiling is too high. Therefore, he's a perfect sell high candidate in all honesty. But again, he is not a focal point. He is a needle move. Like, hey, here's this extra guy that'll put the trade over the top, not, hey, I'm going to be able to go and do a 1-for-1 like Dom said, or I'm going to be able to make him and then give you another piece of crud to go with it. No, it's like a guy you pair with like an Andy Paez or whatever you say his name, for a better player. And that's how you kind of level up that and get the return on the trade. Let's move on. Let's talk about Logan Gilbert, who has had a rough 2 starts, faced the Yankees and the Guardians, which, I mean, he got he got moved around a little bit by Miss Self, but also the Yankees too. I mean, hey, an 8.44 ERA and a 5.06, it's inflated. People are frustrated. You know, people are also feeling a little burned from him last year. So if the owner had him last year and ended up taking him again like this and already feeling burned, these are the players you kind of take advantage of, and you try and get him on a discount. You're still going to pay. I mean, I think you probably end up or end something. Whereas if you're going for a lower end player, you probably would be able to do a little bit better in terms of what you're going to have to give up. Probably going to have to give up Lauder and then somebody that you probably a better pitcher to go out and get Logan Gilbert. But I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, this last start was against the Rangers at 3. It might be a nice bounce back kind of game. You look at what he's doing under the hood too. I mean, the FIP on the year is a 2.83. The K percentage is still there. He's producing ground balls at 44 rip, and not allowing quality contact against him. So I think that everything is kind of going in the right direction. He's just had a bad 2 outings against 2 tough teams that are hitting really well right now, and it's a perfect time for a tilting manager to take advantage of them.
Yeah, Matt, and I'll even say this: the start against Cleveland, the first one wasn't that bad. It was 5.1 innings, 3 earned, 7 Ks, and an 0.94 WHIP. So it was just really that Yankee start that makes the numbers look as bad as they do for Gilbert. And the Yankees have been beating up on everybody. Shout out to my favorite team, the New York Yankees, and Ben Rice and them boys, just absolutely mashing. And Giancarlo Stanton. Shout out to Giancarlo Stanton. But I digress. Logan Gilbert, he's going to be one of the best pitchers in baseball. Top 5 to 8 in my opinion. He's really good. Go out there, Matt. You spoke really well about it. So for time purposes, I'm going to move on to the other Logan. Logan's Run, whatever you want to call this one. Logan Webb is up next, and we've seen who Logan Webb is for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and he's been very consistent. He's on I want to say this too. The first start was just so bad against the Yankees. Can we just see Logan Gilbert for this one? Because his other 2 starts weren't that bad. Against the Padres, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, a win, 5 strikeouts, 1.17 WHIP, and then against the Mets, 7 innings, 3 strikeouts, 1 earned run, and a 1.14 WHIP. That's what we expect from Logan Webb. The WHIP's not going to be great, going to be around that K per 9. The ERA should be really good. Just a bad outing against the New York Yankees, and the New York Yankees are hitting everybody. You're going to have to throw like Sandy Alcantara at the New York Yankees right now to shut them down the way they've been hitting. But I digress. I think Webb's going to be great. I had Webb, like I said, like around SP 18, 20 in that range. So, that's where I value him still, around that range. And that's where I would trade for him at. Matt, if you're talking, you're muted.
Sorry, I knocked it out. So I always want a piece of Logan Webb. I think he's really talented. I think he's, kind of like steady Eddie Freddy when it comes to, a pitcher on my rotation. So I always want him. So well said. I'm going to move on. Kyle Bradish of the Baltimore Orioles. He's had 2 decent starts and 1 bad start. So honestly, it's just inflated with that Pittsburgh matchup. Other than that, he's looking just fine. In all honesty, I will say this too, even in the bad outing, which again was not great against Pittsburgh, he's still managing to put things together. Look, I just expect more, and I think more will come. He has good stuff. He's great K percentage, striking out guys 31.6% over the last 8 days. Not the walk part is a little rough for me, but that's gonna fix itself. And we also got to remember too, he's actually also just returning from Tommy John's. Only had a little bit of start last year. First lengthy aspect of baseball. So I'm giving him a break. I think he's going to be an elite pitcher in this league. And spring says it all too. The way he handled himself in spring, I think just a couple bad outings can easily correct themselves. Watch out. So honestly, a lot of people are throwing hate and shade on Kyle Bradish in the comments of this show. So there is some speculation about him. This is a perfect time to capitalize and get him cheap, and you'll thank us for it later. So straight up, just go out and trade for Kyle Bradish.
Matt perfectly said there. Honestly, I don't know if I want to add anything. It's just except like you kind of said. I think Bradish was more of an industry guy than the casual.
So I'm going to say Dom's computer died because I heard it in the background. But he said I was great because I am. And I'll take a victory lap on that. But guys, please, I'm going to end it with here. Honorable mentions that we haven't talked about yet. Cal Riley, Brent Rooker, guys, we want you to trade for. But uh, we'll get to them some point this week. Thanks for tuning into Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Make sure you subscribe, like, and follow Fantasy Baseball so you get all the latest episodes. And for those on video, we send you over to the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network's YouTube channel. And on audio, make your second listen. Locked On MLB. Silly puts on a great show. Peace out.